First of all, I can say this is the education is the nuclear part for social development. You, we all are here only for that. We are educated. We respect education. We want to flourish education in with different ways. That is the formal, non-formal, informal system of education. The education is the core area, and nowadays the technology interference, development, the key rules they are trying to be intervened with the AI system nowadays intervene with our educational system, and that education system is totally different from our previous education system. Now the we want to see the development, overall development of the individual. This is our main motto of our education system. Therefore, the government of India has, after independence, if we want to see Indian education system, since 1946, the Sri Aurobindo Ghosh has given a new light to the education system. That is education, the residential education system. You have to learn with the teacher. With the teacher, you have to stay with them and learn a lot of things. These sustainable development programs, the development itself with a formal, non-formal or informal ways. Therefore, in 1946, Sri Aurobindo Ghosh integral education system has come. And that nowadays, the national education policy, they are also emphasis on it as a basic education system. 1:6, means 6 students with one teacher. They have to learn all these things within themselves. The overall development of a person, that is with the approach of interdisciplinary, with the approach of interdisciplinary, with the approach of cross-disciplinary, with the approach of disciplinary values, you can integrated for overall development. It is a sharing, cooperative learning system like this. You can see our education system has to be changed. It is not restricted with the classroom. It has to be spread out all over. Means where you can learn. This is the new things and the new knowledge knocking at your doorstep. Therefore, the government of India in 1952, the Secondary Education Commissions in Indian context, I am saying how the development has remarked by the different committee and commissions in educational sector. This is the main way by which we are able to reach the national education policy 3020 and 2020. Before going to start that things, the national goal, sustainable developments is the means developments which with respect to time. So there is sustainability means, means you have to achieve something, then you start achieve another thing, then you have to start another things. The overall development with a cooperative, collaborative learning system can make it is more successful. Therefore, the government of India has in 1986, in 1964, the Kothari Commission has come and they have given a remarkable change in our education system. Now, the education focus on that this is the overall development. It is a student-central education system. Now, the NEP 2020 focus on, and teacher has to develop overall developments of the learner. The sustainability with respect to education, that is the remarkable. It has framed in 1986, but it has not implemented at that time. In 1922, in 20 after 22, before that, the NCTE has given the one remarkable things, that is National Curriculum Framework. In the before NCTE, that is NCERT has started in Indian education system. Then we have proceed on. Now we are going to practice the education system in this such a way that is the education which I am just sharing the national education policy which came to remark to our education system, and we have to discuss and see all these things in this way. And this is the our totality of education system. Now I just sharing some how it is. We are working with instructional technology for overall development of the learners. I think you might have seen this, able to see. Hello,
Yes, yes.
Yes, yes,
Yes, sir.
visible.
Screen is visible, sir.
visible. Then next one is that is the instructional technology designed in such a way in say, NEP 2020. Okay. Is it visible?
Yes, sir, it's
Yeah,
visible. Part
Yes, sir.
visible,
It's visible, sir.
visible.
Only first.
part one, instructional designing overall curriculum
This is
slide
the
is
first
visible,
one,
sir.
part one. That is
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
yes. This is the our instructional technology because I am working in this area of designing curriculums in a digital form. That higher education with a digital form of education system we are adopting because the Indian the GER gross enrollment ratio is 26.28 at present. For achieving that 50% of literacy in higher education, there is requirement of more than 36,000 of universities, but it is not possible in Indian context for overall development of the individual. There is a cross demand. There is a lot of demands in the society. They want to learn. Therefore, the digitization of education and the interventions of technology in higher education is required for developments of the individual, for development of the NEP 2020 focus on this is the things by which we can achieve. This is the overall, we can say that when ICT, information communication technology, come inside since intervene in your education system, at that time the cognitive, affective, and psychomotor domain of the individual. This is meant for the overall development of the according to cognitive theories. They are focusing on it. First, they given the importance on the 5 areas that is modular A, B, C, D, E. This is the transformations of the knowledge society. This is the ICT pedagogy integration, you can say, by which we can develop your knowledge, belief, understanding, by which we can discriminate among ourselves. The overall development is possible only for that by the pedagogical skills. In such a way, you have to design in ICT pedagogical integrations that help to transmit the influence, applying evaluations of individuals in their own cognitive abilities. This is the three-dimension way. That is, one is the ICT user. Second one is that you have to ICT pedagogy integration, and that is the pedagogy abilities by which the overall development of an individual is possible. In this way, the cognitive structure of the individuals in such a way, peripheral way, we have structured and adoptions the idea, the inside your brain, whatever inside, you have to retrieve. That is, according to Vivekananda, you can say the overall development of the individual is called as education. Like this, we want to see ours in modular forms. It's the scientific way, the three-dimension way we can find with the ICT integration in our teaching learning process for overall development of the learner. So far concerned to the higher education, we must have to adopt the ICT in our teaching learning process. That is the applying conditions, emerging conditions, and influencing conditions. Then the last stage is the transformation transformation conditions, always you adopt your brains with the modular form of A attack, B, C, D, and E. All have diverted in such a way that if you adopt in your teaching learning process, how to develop the fluency ability of the individual, the capacity of the individual to memorize, the capacity of the individual to synthesize, the capacity of the individual to see its own evaluation process. A person, when he is in the mastery level, he can find out himself that I know everything because I have the idea, I have the knowledge, understanding, belief, everything inside myself. The sustainable development goal, 17 areas, they are focusing first of the development of the individual. Development of the individual is possible when the individual always make his success in the cognitive ability to the ability of psychomotor to the ability of your cognitive practices. These are the things required for the developments of the individual. Without the society build up with the elements of individuals and individual society and their associations came together for the overall development of the nation. The nation is always developed by the peoples, those who are working for them. Therefore, they are focusing on the transformation, the technological, pedagogical contents, that is TPACK requirements as a core, as a nucleus inside the atoms. All these electrons are revolving all around it, and it is the theory made up in this context. The pedagogy content knowledge must be required, and technical knowledge required for developing it. For example, if I want to make someone Newton, is it possible or not? If you practice in this way, if you find out the what is the character inside the individual, that is Newton education, the Newton's characters, then we can find out, make a association like a doctor always give his any recommendation medicines before that he diagnosis. They are like this. The research says in this way, you have to find out the basic, what is the components contributing an individual for making such a talented peoples. There, the sustainable development of the individuals is the basic elements of that hidden inside it. That is the pedagogical knowledge, that is the knowledge or transmission. All this has to be understood by the teachers for the development of the learner. If we want to, being a teacher, what we have to do before going to start, before going to make someone. At that time, we find out what are the curriculums we are adopting for teaching, in which level, and what types of, is it value-based education system, it is ethical based of education, it is education for memorizing based, or it is the learning worth, what is the worth of your learning, why we have to learn, why we have to develop ourselves, why we have to go to the school, why we have to go to the college. These are the questions that has to be cleared by the teacher inside the, before going to, he has to assess in this way. That is the knowledge, what they want to spread out. That is a pedagogical approach of knowledge. How the students learn and teachers teach. These are the basic questions inside a teacher. Then he can be a good teachers, and they can make a persons with a sustainable development possible. Without individual development, there is no possibility of any development. Developments in the directions of the physical, knowledge-based, social-based, the value-based education system must be required for reforming the characters, the materialistic, the idealistic, the pragmatistic, the way they want to develop themselves. There is need of such curriculum. There is need of such a training. There is such need of such classroom environment that helps to the individual for the development. This is another thing. And the NEP 2020 has given the curriculum development, how India is going to develop, in which area we are doing works, how we have to develop our curriculum. This is the first constructive approach, that's the principles of constructiveness. Second one is forward looking principles. What is that? The principles of why we have to learn this. What is the practical value? That is the skill based education system. Now at that, the IITs peoples are coming to the universities, and university people are going to the IITs. There is no discrimination of a knowledge boundary. This our education system NEP 2020 develops such a curriculums in this way. This is the ABC system of education, where we can live the. This is the teacher of student-centric education system with the technological interventions, active participant, principles of learning. That is the participation. So what I have to learn, and that has to be implemented in our day-to-day life. That is the principles of connecting the people. My work is valuable for my society or not. If it is not valuable for the society, not for the others, there is no need of such curriculum. There is a child-centered education. Every student has their own potentiality, own difference, own capability. We give a emphasis on them, so whether he is unable to learn or learn. There are different way of learning style, learning, delivering lecture. This is the one of the linear style. Whatever lectures I am giving, whatever I am teaching, whether it is understandable by the, because twins are not equal. The individual difference, how you marginalized. This is your own characters as a teacher. You have to make how to satisfy these things with the help of your teaching learning process, and with the help of your vocabulary, with the help of your use of aids, integrations, the correlations with the different facts, figures in the locality. This is the main work of our education system to develop our national goals. This is the 20 goals which are already prescribed by the governments of India. That is one is comprehensiveness or balance, the principles of loyalty, validity, and flexibility. These are the difference. Before going to start or do your curriculums or development, you have to learn for. This is the individual developments this required for. Then the next one is for analytic, designing, developing, implementing, evaluating, and reserving. These are the 6 areas you have to do before going to develop your curriculum structure as NEP suggested. Then we come to what are the principles that adopted by the government of India for the development here, for making say development theories as the goal of development, that output-based education system, choice-based education, that is a credit system. If I want to leave some things in this way, and I have to start according to my pace, according to my challenges, my delimitations, I can start anything. Though I was belonging to Madhya Pradesh, therefore this slide is total given the all these pictures of Madhya Pradesh state, because Madhya Pradesh is the first state in India, and first state in India who implemented a next one is opportunity and ecosystem. So what are the opportunity in this system, and how you evaluate the education system, because it is a sustainability, it is a development for the long time. So we are giving
I
emphasis
request,
on our long-term
just a
strategy.
second,
This is the
just a
education
second,
system which
Mahapatra
I
sir.
adopted. Then
Just a second, Mahapatra sir. Ajmer sir, your mic is, so kindly
four
mute your
pages.
mic, sir.
Other than the presenter, I'm requesting to be on mute mode, please. Yeah.
Yeah,
Choice
kindly.
based. Third one is ability. Hello.
Yes.
Yes, sir,
Please
kindly
continue.
continue. Continue.
Yes. Okay. Someone here for making some let us look. This is the another way we can find this is the credit system, no pass, no fail. There is no remarks in the beginning stage, and the later on you can find your own skill, whatever you have achieved through your credit. Then next one is choice-based credit system that based on flexible in curriculum and selection, the basic structure of our education, that is the institutional subject which is available in the institutions. Allow students to choose interdisciplinary, cross-disciplinary, and skill-based education papers. That is the one of the criteria which NEP has given or provided the learners for developing according to their own needs. The CBCS is a learned central means contract means students credit, and it is also depends on the learner choice. On 132 credits papers once cleared, then we think his developments is in all the aspects with the core subject, with the skill-based subject matter, content-based. What are the 44 credits per year you have to achieve? Then you clear. There is a provisions of certificates. There is provisions of degree. There is provisions of diploma, and there is provisions of integrated bifurcations of the learners according to their interest. For example, I want to be a teacher, then I have to choose the academic areas. Where someone is wants to be a critical thinker, that is a scientific approach inside him, and he was to be a researcher. At that time, he bifurcate themselves. There is a provisions after graduation. You can select your own ways. That is the path we can say, and this is the general elective subject and 4 areas you have to work. Second one is choice-based credit systems in Madhya Pradesh. This is knowledge. They are giving emphasis on knowledge, attitude, and which we can say that the values and their skills. These are the 4 areas for overall developments of the learners. This is the another way we discriminate of the learners according to their own pace. They can select themselves and they can work in this way. Ability enhanced courses like this, there is a different type of courses. MOOC also provided massive open online courses. The government of India has given more than 182 82 set program satellite through, and now it is 256 at present. The MOOC program already launched by the government of India, the Ministry of Education of India, and one can take the help of this, and 30% of their credit that can accused by the learners with the flexibility of learning according to their pace. This is the one credibility going to our technology and overall development of the learner. And we are focusing to the sustainable development goal on the individual, that the persons how they can develop. The government has adopted the policy through the NEP 2020, the overall development of the individual. Individual is the key persons for the development of nation. So we are focusing on sustainability development on individual through education system. Our education system that we have adopted, that is to NEP 2020. This is the core education system. And in this way, the challenges what we are facing, that is the SS, equality, quality, and the infrastructures of the university, poor quality of research in Indian context, the skill-based, that new institutions are coming with the collaboration, that is the research-based education system. And government of India recently, they are going to be collaborate with a foreign university for enhancement of the research quality in Indian context, because more than 5,000 universities are working, but in India, so we are nowhere else with 500 in this way. Some institutions are there, but the poor educational quality, because higher education bestowed upon the 4 pillars, that is the one research, training, extension, innovations, and that is field work. You have to go through your extension. Teaching is the core area of higher education, that is university education system. So research, without research, you can find out yourself where the best institutions and national curriculum framework has given emphasis from the beginning in 2005. Also, they have given what is the area we have to work in the higher education system. In Indian context, the population of India is 1/5. You have compared to the US, the 1/5 population in US, but in our 145 crores, like this one we have. But more than 7,000 universities are working in US. You see, in comparison with Indian context, if we want to be, then there is need of 36,000 university in India for 100% literacy in our higher education. Now, 1,146 universities are working in India. They are also the state university, they are also private university, deemed university, and 56 central universities are working all over India. So you need there is a social demand a lot, but we are unable to fulfill it. Therefore, the education system is a that is the accessibility of the education through the university system. Therefore, the government of India, the Ministry of Education, emphasis on the digitization of higher education, and specialized universities are coming with the association of with different foreign universities. That is skill-based university. Second one is these universities, research universities. These universities are for specific work. In the general point of view, the residential type of universities are working in India, and the enrollment students ratio is less compared to others because the quality of education now it is going to be better. But before that, the Gurukul systems, education system, if we adopt, at that time the value of education system are not properly according to the time. They have not taken that one because in India the 200 years Meghalaya education system pulled out, and our education systems change. Our best education practices are unable to. Now we are starting and we are going to implement the Indian knowledge system in our education system. That will help all of us for our development. And you can see this is the accessibility and quality of it. How the students, 19.7 females students in out of all state in all over India. The SC, the general, the ST, the overall developments of the 26.2823. It was previous data. Now it is 26.28. You see the accessibility and equality, how it's hinder our educational ratio, higher education, with respect to casteism, by which we are unable to see ourselves. And now the course, how to distribute the cases, these are the program structure, graduation level. This is international, I mean, nationally it has adapted, and now the internationalizations of education possible if you have common platform, and how the core subjects are adopted in a higher education, that is a graduate means college education system, and you find the skill enhanced courses are there. And I'm going giving this and what are the challenges now we are finding. This is the poor connectivity. We are unable to acquainted. This is the techno acquaintancy of the individuals. Though we are working with 5G, but we are unable to touch even the rural area of the peoples. Now, poor connectivity and ability, degrade ability to of some of villages still they are suffering due to electricity unavailability. Skill enhanced course, vocational course, and fundamental foundation course. These courses are required for the learner's choice and the overall development. That will help to the nation for their development. And let us hope this has to be do that how this subject 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. There's 6 courses are there, but how the interchangeability of the faculty is also a problem for all of us. In all of most of the institutions, they have no good faculty. Therefore, they are unable to run the courses. Second one is Hindi. These are the ability enhances courses, and you can find Hindi, English, the subject courses, subject we can teach them in the classroom for their own development. There is another things, the mother tongue, emphasis on the mother tongue for the overall development of the learner, because students, the learner better understand when they are associated, they have to go through their own mother tongue language. This is therefore the NEP has given emphasis on the mother tongue is the core subject by which they can communicate. Now the large multidisciplinary university and colleges demand of the faculty and infrastructure. These are the demerits. We can say these are the unavailabilities of these things hinder our education system. And revamping the curriculums, pedagogy, accessibility, student supports, enhance students' experience. These are the we are unable to reach our 100% people's developments like this. New education policy given emphasis on establishment of higher educational institutions, which is national research foundations, and now government is very clear about the localities where these things has to be worked. There's the institutions required, that independent board required, lights, and next two things is that is why writing's learning's outcome, and we have to emphasis on the in the part of the learning outcome, what we are teaching and what they have learned. There is assessment of these required, but we are unable to do all these things because digitization of education, only the subjective type of nature of the question answer is not possible, only the question answer possible in the objective way. This is the main things we are finding ourselves, and these things has to be done very shortly, and the national education policy giving emphasis with the delimitations that learning outcomes, and this is the demographic diversity also in Indian context. It is problematic for all of us to reach it to unreach, and this is the demographic divisions that is Europe, India, Japan, American, and India. You can find see there 46 people are there, but here 29. So because I told that 26.28 means that is 28 point, and Japan they have 40. The national average rate, that is another thing. Opportunity for there. Why we adopt ODL, open distance learning? Open distance learning always enhance your learning ability. So because it has freedom with all respects, therefore we emphasis on all these things. Next one is we have to see our education system more fruitful when we all are educated and we are able to achieve our national goal. And this is the NEP 2020 is our national goal. And what are the this in MP 26.3, because it was 2 years back, but 28 years college as when we find the average of college and university, at the time we can find out the ratio is 26.28. Let us hope for the best. We have to see five keys barriers in the pickup of the ICT. We are unable to practice ICT programs in our teaching learning process. The ability to probability forwarding the electricity fast of the expenses of internet connectivity, the proposal developed by the teachers and the teacher educators are unfeasible, means it is not feasible so, to take into the practice. Implementing sustainable development of the project, it is not possible because why the adaptation of the projects. And one thing is adapt online assessment is another problem for us. Or there is no computerization, there is no such practices. They have to evaluate through computer, and online assessment. Why it is required for us? Online assessment is the great challenge in our teaching learning process, and I think the fidelity of any type of practice that can be reduced if there is a technology and online assessment. There is from the beginning to the last in our teaching learning process for the development of our education system, that enrollment to evaluation, everywhere there is need of interventions of technology. Without technology, we can go ahead. Without technology, we can develop. Without technology, we can sustainable. Sustainability depends on these things. We're guiding to assessing the technology, how to multiple choice test-based questions, how we have to frame and how find the students' capability with different divergent quality of educational items. You have to ask. They can give the answers, multiple choice, and these things may help all of us, and this is the education system by which we can grade up our national interest. We can drill our education system. Thank you very much.